Net Nation is imploding right before our very eyes, right? The 4-0 sweep wasn't bad enough. The James Harden departure wasn't bad enough because now Kyrie needs to add some gas to the fire. Okay? He wants his money. Sean Marks playing games. He wants 4 years, 42 mil on a desk waiting for him.
It's your money, get it when you need it type vibes, man, that I'm getting, man. Old head ass, man. Because Kyrie, he ain't playing with nobody, man. He ain't playing at all. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm about to do what I did to Boston. You know what I'm saying? What I did on the back end of Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Things are looking slow.
Right. Kyrie is not playing no games.
No,
he ain't playing no games on the literal level.
So I think the question becomes, right, because obviously we all know Kyrie is a max player when he plays.
Yes.
The question is really not how much should they give him. It's about for how long, right? Kyrie wants 4 years at the max. The Nets are willing to do 2 with a bunch of incentives. So that's the gap. And now Kyrie's dragging KD into it, right? Because that's what's leaking out is no me, no KD. That's what he's saying to Shawnee Marks. If you, Mr. Nets fan, were in this position, what would you do?
Yeah, honestly, just because of how things panned out. I mean, the Nets organization and the team they built, it was the greatest team that never was. So, literally, I'm rolling with Sean Marks on this one, personally. I'm saying because Kyrie, he is worth the deal. He is worth every penny that the Nets are willing to give him. But because of his lack of commitment to playing the game on a consistent basis, I wouldn't give him no more than 2 years max.
Now, that is spoken like a true fan of the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets. My first thought was to just blow the whole damn thing, not blow the whole damn thing up. It's either blow the whole damn thing up or, you kind of give in to Kyrie's demands and give him what he wants. You know what I mean? You give him the 4 years. You know what I'm saying? You like you said, tying him into KD, but at the same time, it's like the way I looked at it is, you're paying him $37 a year right now. You know what I mean? I think Kyrie will be productive for the next 3 to 4 seasons. And as we all, agree on, the only issue was his consistency when he's on the floor. Now, I don't expect him to have any more issues with consistency given the back end of all the COVID, restrictions. COVID restrictions are gone. You know what I mean? We do realize that he had some of these issues in Boston. We cannot forget about that, where there was no COVID in play and he just wasn't playing just to, show I'm Kyrie. I could do now. I do what I want. You know what I'm saying? So you said it. I think it's interesting, man. That's the best way, I think, for the Brooklyn Nets to keep their integrity and respect in the league intact, but also remaining competitive. You can't just, as frustrating as it is, pride makes you want to say, Kyrie, you're out of here. KD, if you want to leave, get on out of here too. But you still got to be competitive in this league. It's about dollars, and to get dollars, you need those big names. So
the worst part is you guys are already pot committed, right? Like, there's no getting LeVert, Jared Allen, and Spencer Dinwiddie back. That bridge is sailed. Like, you guys, this is what you have, and it's either this or Ben Simmons and Joe Randoms for the next 3 years. And I know you don't want that. But let's talk about some doomsday options real quick. I'm going to get your thoughts on this real quick. Right? Kyrie listed the Lakers, Clippers, Heat, Mavericks, Sixers, and my New York Knicks on that list of potential candidates he would like to go to for sign and trade or through free agency if he decides to decline in 4 or 5 days his team option or player option with the Brooklyn Nets. And my favorite scenario here is, right, we know Jalen Brunson trade. Jalen Brunson is the apple of the eye for the Knicks front office right now. They're clearing space to get him, make a run at him. Bump Jalen. Let's get Kyrie, right? Kyrie's in the Mecca. Now, you know what? You like RJ, right? Steve Nash is his godfather. Let's trade RJ and everyone and get KD too. All right? And then we bend Brooklyn Nets over the knee and send you guys back to Jersey. How does that sound?
First of all, I don't want nothing from the Knicks fans. I don't want to hear nothing. You guys literally traded your entire future away for a guy who had half of a good season, which is Brunson. So, look, the Knicks is just out of the question. I don't even think Kyrie would want to play for the Knicks. I feel like if anything, the team that has the greatest chance of doing something with Kyrie would probably be the Heat, just to, move Kyle Lowry because he's too fat to be on Miami.
Now you got that one right. You got that one right for sure.
He's over the weight limit for heat culture.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if anything, that's the closest fit for it. But honestly speaking, I don't know where it's gonna go. Send Kyrie to the Heat, let KD trade him to the Knicks for all your. Well, I guess we can get picks and some money. And I guess make a run.
Oh, that was disrespectful. He literally looked at the Knicks roster. He said, there isn't a single player on that roster worth trading for. Oh, damn. What about RJ? What about
look, you would have to take some talent, but I mean, like, come on, like, he's no KD. Like, you're not getting anybody.
And it's KD with 4 years left. Like, if they did trade him, it's gonna be for like all of Elon Musk's money and like players. Like, it's crazy. It would be the biggest trade ever.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you sound like, the funny thing is, I thought you were going to come up here more hopeful, but I think you've, and many Nets fans have come to terms with this, right? This KD Kyrie experiment has failed.
You know, I'm just losing my faith.
It brings me no joy to say this.
I'm losing my faith in that Nets organization. I mean, as a season ticket holder, had the rep calling me up one day and was just like, yo, man, what are you guys thinking about for next season's packages? And I'm telling him, yo, man, there's too much dysfunction around this team. I paid money on the season ticket to see Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden swap Ben Simmons play. And I haven't seen them play together. So I feel like, you know, it's really tough for the league. I feel like as a Nets fan, honestly, if I'm Sean Marks, the most I'm doing is, because KD after this season, he has 3 or 4 years left on his deal.
4 years.
4 years left on his deal. So I would exercise, you know, I would give Kyrie a 3-year, marry him to KD's contract so they leave around the same time. I would give him that deal and give him the max for up to those 3 years. And after that, you know, free agency, have fun, you know?
Word. So this is the last thought I want to get off, Malcolm, and get your input on. Me and Firas were talking about this a little earlier, but I look at this whole situation, this whole dumpster fire, if you will, in Brooklyn, and I step back and ask, who has the most to gain here? And I think it's a guy, probably one of the best players ever to put him on. Wields tremendous power in the NBA, and it's LeBron James. He is stuck, maxed out on their salary cap. They can't move Russell Westbrook, and they need to get better fast. He only can gain by, hey, Kyrie, man, they don't appreciate you. He planting seeds, bro. We see the tweets started at least a year ago where he's praising Kyrie at every opportunity. Why not get the band back together?
If he did do that, that would be the most disrespectful thing that can happen to Kevin Durant. Because all that does is set the precedent. This is the same guy, Kyrie Irving, that left LeBron, convinced KD to leave a championship caliber team, as we see with the Warriors, to join and build a dynasty in Brooklyn, just for him to leave and take a $30 million pay cut because all the Lakers can afford to give him is $6 million for the season. You leave KD high and dry to take a $30 million pay cut over ego because you don't want to be strong-armed by the Nets after you put the freaking cuffs in their hand by not playing. Like, that was... Oh,
it'd be crazy. That KD LeBron debate that happened when he was in Golden State 3 years ago, it would be over.
So this is the thing. We know Kyrie Irving to be the most bipolar NBA basketball player in history, maybe, you know, barring a Dennis Rodman, right? He's up there, right? So I think it's interesting, right? You leave a championship team, you beat the best team on paper of all time with LeBron James in Cleveland, right? You say, nah, I ain't getting enough shine. Even though LeBron James is considered arguably the GOAT or number 2 of all time, I think I'm better than him. So I'm going to go over to Boston, you know what I'm saying, show him my worth, not play in Boston, make them give up everything, go to Brooklyn, not play in Brooklyn, make them give up everything. You know what I'm saying? It would not be him deviating from the norm if we saw him go back to Lakers, or excuse me, go back to the Lakers. Realistically, once LeBron is on a team, LeBron is the team, right? So I said go back to the Lakers. I really mean go back to LeBron, but same difference, right? I think it'd be an interesting situation. Russell Westbrook is a guy that we know can play with Kevin Durant. I think their play style, when Russell Westbrook is not being very, very ball heavy, they complement each other. Kevin Durant is a guy who can shoot from anywhere, score any way he wants, get you a bucket whenever. Russell Westbrook is a guy that keeps the tenacity up when KD's getting his breaks. You know what I'm saying? If Russell is willing to adapt to that role, they can be a very dominant team. Yeah, you do your thing. But I say all that to say this, man. I think that if James Harden was still there, the trade would have already happened, because now you're basically getting to see the Thunder Big Three from literally 10 years ago team up, match up, right? And at the same time, you also get to see LeBron James and Kyrie Irving reunite, bro. It would be a beautiful thing, you know?
I think so, but I don't think that KD could win with Russell Westbrook. I feel like that experiment has tried, it's failed.
The ship has sailed. The ship has sailed. With that being said, guys, I'm having little technical difficulties on my end. I'm gonna let you guys wrap this bad boy up. But Malcolm, man, it's been a pleasure having you on the pod. Just don't want to ruin the high quality of the plug. So with that, I bid you gentlemen adieu, and Tyler and Malcolm will wrap this one up.
Peace. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The funny thing is, it's not gonna be one of those situations that drags, right? Like Kyrie has about 6 days. Less than 6 days to decide on this option. And that will shift the entirety of the league. Because if he opts out, every franchise in the NBA is preparing a package. There's not one franchise that hasn't already had a meeting about what we could possibly order or offer for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's for Kevin Durant. But I don't think, like, what team is going to want Kyrie Irving right now? Like, what team is actually going to be like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to give this dude a 4-year.
Miami they've shown they're willing to try anything. I could see Miami doing it. They definitely need a star.
But I don't know if, like, you have to remember, Kyrie is like a cancer in the locker room. What would he do to that Miami organization?
He goes into Miami and he's not the leader emotionally, especially if they keep Haslam. That's a situation where it probably works.
I don't know.
Jimmy Butler is the leader on that team if Kyrie signs today. Still, Kevin Durant isn't much of a vocal leader. So I don't know. I don't think Kyrie has ruined Brooklyn either.
I think so.
You do? Let's get more on this.
Brooklyn,
how did Kyrie ruin Brooklyn? Go ahead.
He put Brooklyn in a very tight situation. He created issues. Like, the reason why the Nets even had all of those roster changes, like, I think the Nets had, like, how many different starting lineups this season? It was like 60, 70 different starting fives. A lot of that was dictated because this man, Kyrie Irving, was conducting his own practices outside of Steve Nash.
That's so disrespectful.
He would come into practice whenever he wants and say, "You 5, come with me," and would leave the gym and conduct their own practice. So Kyrie was the one saying, "No, we running with this lineup," because of some practices that he had drawn up.
Kyrie is just a different
He ruined
dude.
that. So they have no continuity, no chemistry. He's threatening to leave, which is going to put all the talent at risk. You sank the organization. And all the organization did was sign off on his BS the entire time. There was no memos of the Nets saying Kyrie is a problem, blah, 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 blah. That was all the media external stuff saying that. The Nets, when Kyrie took his 30-day hiatus because of the riots on the January 6th.
Yeah.
They was just like, you know what? It's Kyrie being Kyrie.
Yeah.
They stuck by him.
They have. KD stuck by him too, because he could have easily been like, that's not me. And he hasn't done that to this point. So it's all interesting, right? So we got to thank you for coming on the podcast. We're definitely gonna have you back on once all this gets resolved to break it down. Till then, it's been another episode of the Hoop Plug Podcast. Put some flavor in your ear. Peace.
Peace.